I'm a contemporary artist, graphic composer, and deep listener based out of Boulder, Colorado. Today I'm going to present my graphic score titled Influence Confluence as part of this year's 2020 Sustaining Colorado's Watershed Conference, Business as Unusual. Many of you are probably curious about what exactly a graphic composition is. Graphic composition began in the early 1950s when classical music notation and the aesthetics of modern art kind of collided and came into play. To simply define classical musical notation, R. Murray Schafer says it best. Quote, "Notation is an attempt to render oral facts by visual signs." So looking at the map key for influence confluence, something that I really want to talk about here is the idea of indeterminacy and the idea of individual interpretation. So while this map key is really just here for informational purposes, it's really also not giving you a lot of information. And that's similar to a lot of the scores that I write. I don't like to give too much information. I like to give enough information to set the context. However, what I really want to kind of emphasize is this idea of indeterminacy. And because I don't give a lot of information, I'm hoping that people will be a little bit more willing to be like, well, it's not super clear how I'm supposed to interpret this, so I'm just going to go for it. And that's really what I want, you know. For me, this idea of individuality in turn kind of comes back to community and everybody working together in a way that allows everybody to understand a similar concept, but from an individual standpoint. A non-traditionally composed network of lines and shapes influenced by interpreted data of the Colorado River. Influence Confluence is a graphic score made for any instrument to interpret the physical form of the river along with surrounding cultural phenomenon, topography, time, and spatial relationships. The composition can be played by one player or orchestrated by a larger group. Any instrument is welcome to experiment with the composition. My hope is that a new awareness around our collective human relationship with the Colorado River can be explored through this piece of work. In order to preserve our rural agricultural communities within the American West, a dialogue must be created about the delicate balance between people, place, and the natural resources we all depend on. To this end, I hope the composition can be useful. Like all rivers, ever-fluctuating entities that never stop moving or changing, this score is to be interpreted freely by each musician and artist. There are 3 parts to the score. Part 1 is the left side, which displays open circles that represent the inflows of the 5 major tributaries of the Colorado River: the Green River, the Yampa River, the San Juan, the Gunnison, and the Gila. The birth point of the river is written as a resonating circle with a sign in the center, the river itself as a primary line. This is part 2, the ever-fluctuating entity that connects us all. And part 3, on the right side, with the closed circles, represents the 7 states: Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, and California, as well as Mexico, which depend on the river for agriculture, recreation, and services to municipalities. Starting at the left, follow each tributary to the middle, always returning to the sign, the Colorado River. Then, from the middle, follow all 7 outflows. It is helpful to return to the sign. End at the coda. And now for a short video of influence confluence.